Maybe one of my favorite memories. Absolutely no pottery. Me and Alan were staying with my grandma for the 2014 US Open, and she had another guest staying there as well. As he was asking for things to do in the area, she suggested pottery, and he said the now classic line, repeated over and over, now for 10 years. We went to a practice round on Wednesday and spent the night. Went to round 1 on Thursday. As much as I remember walking around number 2, I remember sitting around my grandma's kitchen table in the morning and at night, listening and laughing with her. It's a space I've known my entire life, a space I've come to almost consider sacred, as it brings back memories of family and friends and time. It's something else I can't quite put my finger on. It's a space that even when I just think about gives me a certain feeling that I can't quite describe. The sound of those chairs when you first sit down, the view out the window, the smell of the house, the TV on in the background, the reading material scattered around, and Grandma always present, bringing food and stories and conversation.
He's a good sketcher artist.
I just find it very relaxing.
Oh yeah.
I looked at a lot of paintings. Well, you know, when you live in Europe and you have access to all these famous museums, you kind of get addicted.
Mm-hmm.
Been to Florence, saw David.
Oh, nice.
Pretty good looking guy, especially with no clothes on.
Alan went with his dad a couple years ago to Venice and...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we took a tour of Europe.
Wow.
Took him around.
Where'd you go?
We started off, we flew into Heathrow,
Mm-hmm.
and then we stayed in London for a few, maybe a week, and then we took the train to Paris. Yeah.
Under the water.
Under the water, yeah. It was
Got dark
fast.
under there, didn't it?
It did get dark. It was a nice train. They were all French stewardesses or French train attendants. They were all speaking French, and I was in there with my French book trying to talk to them.
Oh, I have a translator.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just punch in what you wanted to say and
Oh,
say it.
Yeah, but they appreciated me trying. They gave me extra dumplings.
The French, they are the only country I know where the people that live there, they can speak perfectly good English. They want you to struggle in
French. They do, yeah. We learned that.
You go to Germany and they're so proud of being able to speak English.
Yeah, French are very proud. They want you to struggle.
But their language is really beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
We lived with a French family for a year, and they at one time had 7 ships that were cargo ships that did the transatlantic crossings all back and forth from France to New York, back and forth. 5 of them. The Germans sunk every one of them. So he was reduced to being a woodcutter in the woods, and he had lost one of his eyes in World War One. So he was not a youngster. And his nephew was manager of one of the auto companies in France. I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, it doesn't matter. And he was cutting wood for this corporate whatever it was, and this German man came to France. I mean, this is crazy. Germany was supposedly won the war, right? Especially the Second World War. And anyway, he would come to pay him for the work he had done. They would swear at each other, and you would think they're just having a nice conversation. You can swear in French, and it sounds really nice.
Sounds nice still.
Yeah, well, we had this cow. Well, it wasn't a cow. It was like 8 cows that went from where their pasture was to where the barn was, where they got milked. In this country, we milk cows twice a day. In France, they milk them 3 times a day. So every day the cows would go from the pasture to the barn and then back to the pasture 3 times. Every time they went by, and if Monsieur was at home, he would swear. What are the first words I learned in French? Of course, what he was teaching me. We go to Paris. We go to the Folies Bergère. I cannot believe my eyes. I'm looking at this. I says to this daughter of theirs that we were there with, because she was the one that took us there. She said, "Madam Charlie, what did you say?" And so I repeated it. She said, "Oh, you mustn't say that. That's very bad. A lady doesn't use that language." So she writes her father a letter and says, "Papa, you mustn't say those things in front of Madame Charlie."
What did she call
That's
you?
all he, Madame Charlie.
What's that?
Mrs. Charles.
Ah.
Is very formal. Oh, we didn't go to the Foley's with her, but anyway.
What's the
He
Foley's?
thought that was hilarious. He showed me the letter, and he laughed and he said, "Oh, I know lots more language words we can give you." Oh.
Yeah.
Ah.
What's the Foley's?
You need to go to find out.
Ah.
They're
Now we just gotta check Tiger off. This has been a great hole to see, though.
It has been.
We just missed.
It was a good call to come back here.
I hate we missed the ace, though.
I know.
But what you gonna do? Left it short.
This is Gordon Speed, everybody. He doesn't do that.
What was he at? Did y'all know?
He was
Is that
two
plus
over
two?
even
Oh,
for
he was
the day
alright.
Before that.
Dang.
So,
That was a
makes
big
it,
shot.
he'd be one over.
He was a lot faster than the other guy.
Yeah, just
Okay, I didn't take that. There was like
Uh-uh.
a two-stroke penalty
Right at
for
the
a piece of play.
yeah.
GTZ.
I guess he knew he probably was like, I don't want to leave that short, so he's like, just hit it extra and get the bogey.
Imagine trying to hit this.
It's so hilly, like
You have to like do the bump and run and hope you run it right.
like they say the TV doesn't
Do justice.
do the hills justice.
Yeah, I would never be able to hit those. Yeah, no. What would you do? I think I would run it. Yeah, I agree with you.
But the greens are like at 14, so
What other option do I have?
yeah, that's why we gotta play this course sometime. You gotta keep these memories so when we play it, you're like, oh, I was there.
Don't make those same mistakes.
Or just to be cool to like,
You gotta leave the
if
shot
you end
short
up there and you're like, oh, I'm in the same spot that I saw him
right
hit.
between those
Yeah.
roots.
Hideki's at 4 under today.
Wow, it's quite around.
I think this is for birdie.
They usually know they got close.
great putt. Great putt.
What's like? Sitting in the bleachers at the 12th green, it struck me I had to thank my friends for joining me on this trip. This might just be the last time I will be able to stay with my grandma while the US Open is in Pinehurst. I started to have these thoughts when I first saw the US Open was going to be in Pinehurst in 2024. I wanted to really try to appreciate the moment. Father Time is undefeated after all. But I'm not sure I really did appreciate that moment enough with me and Dan and Justin, my grandma, hanging out until past midnight at our kitchen table. I tried to appreciate it though, and it made me thankful they came and experienced it with me. Now I can reminisce about being at my grandma's, and they'll be able to join me at that table years down the road. If not in person, then in our memories.
Another epic up and down at Pinehurst for a U.S. Open championship. Bryson DeChambeau now has 2, the second at number 2.